Think we're live. I know sounds like Twitter's having some issues, but Facebook and YouTube, what's going on? How are we doing this morning? Good to see everybody. I do think Twitter just went down, so won't be on Periscope, and I apologize for that. But good morning, everybody. Big B is here. Craig is here. Gary is here. Good to see everyone. Man, I cannot wait until the NFL renegotiates the TV deal next year and hopefully moves away from the exclusive deal with DirecTV. Unfortunately, the DirecTV deal is locked in past next year. There are lots of broadcast rights coming up, but I think the Sunday ticket deal is around for a while. I can't remember. It's too early. Lots of fireworks Monday. Brandy, you got to think so. I mean, we know that Falcons secondary is ripe for the picking. Aaron Rodgers and company should be able to do what they want downfield against that group. Now, as far as what the Falcons are going to do, they've certainly shown they can put up points, and Matt Ryan has good command of that line of scrimmage, and that's why I keep saying Mike Pettin needs to change things up a little bit, because I do think they're going to be able to move the ball on the Packers defense. So I do expect it to be, back and forth, another high-scoring affair, much like we saw Sunday night. I don't want to look too far ahead, but do you think there's any chance we get flexed to Sunday Night Football in Week 6 against Tampa? Joey, I'd be surprised simply because that is such a hot matchup, Rodgers and Brady. I'd be shocked if Fox let it go, but you never know. Who knows? Maybe the league leans on them a bit or what have you, but I would suspect that stays at the 425 mark. Can I please get a Go Pack Go for your birthday? It's your birthday today, Dave. Go Pack Go, buddy. Hope you have a great day and a great birthday. Any Julio news? Nothing yet, Jill. We won't get our first injury reports until later today. But I would be on the lookout for practice reports later this afternoon. We'll see if Julio goes. Have you heard if Green Bay will move away from fans going to games given the increase in COVID in Wisconsin? Craig, I mentioned this on Transplants last night. If you go and listen to Mark Murphy on the Packers Saturday night pregame pep rally, it's a virtual pep rally. It's basically people talking into Zoom. But he mentioned fans in the stands or lack thereof. And listening to Murphy and looking at the numbers, I would be absolutely shocked if they allow any fans inside Lambeau for the rest of the year. It sucks, but that's where we're at. The numbers, as you say, or you indicate there in Wisconsin are I'm not going to say skyrocketing, but they are certainly on the uptick. And it's not trending the right way. And I think the Packers still have some time because, they ruled out fans for the first two games, second of which is this Monday nighter against the Falcons. Then they don't have another home game until November. But at some point soon, I would expect them to make an announcement that they're not going to have fans in the stands. That's just guesswork on my part. Hate facing teams that their backs are against the wall. I hear you, John. I mean, there is certainly a mentality there. You got to think desperation maybe starts to set in a little bit in Atlanta, makes them possibly a little bit more dangerous. But I do think once the ball kicks off, it's just about the talent on the field and who's the better team. And I got to think that's Green Bay at this point. But motivation certainly never hurts for an opponent. Please just allow one seat for Corey Banke. That would be great. Did Packerman die when Kamara had that absurd touchdown? No, Trevor. Packerman, I said this on the watch party. Packerman, I only ever go ham on Packerman for the blown timeouts and the misuse of the clock. That's where Packerman has to fear for his life. But missed tackles, been watching it for years, man. Packerman and I just sit back and take it in. Patrick, thank you for the super chat. Do we have any news on 52? Nothing yet. We'll start to get injury reports and practice reports later this afternoon. They're back on the practice field later today, so we'll get our first kind of inkling of what's going on there. And Patrick, the beer did arrive yesterday. Thank you so much. Craig, thank you for the super chat. How good is Atlanta's run game? Can we rest Kenny Clark if it is a weak run game? I mean, I don't want to rest Kenny if he's good to go. I don't care what the run game looks like. Now, that said, their run game is going to look much better than it's probably been because they're going against Green Bay, unless Green Bay plays better, which, I don't have any reason to think they're going to suddenly flip a switch. I think they're going to need all their horses, and if Kenny's good to go, they should play him. Gurley is not the back he once was, but he can still be very effective. There's no doubt about that. Nags, what happened to our defense from last year? We got all the same players from last year except Blake Martinez, so why are they playing really bad on defense? I don't think they're playing any different than they did on defense. I mean, the one area where they're kind of maybe struggling a little bit more and a bit unexpectedly is in red zone. The red zone defense isn't as good. I do think otherwise, teams last year marched up and down between the 20s. The Packers were just opportunistic, which they still are, and really clamped down in the red zone, which they have not done a great job of this season. So I think if they can start playing better in the red zone, that's probably the one area where I would expect maybe some change and or improvement, because we have seen them do it. But for the most part, they're throwing the same people out there, and you're getting kind of the same results. Nathan, thanks for the super chat. If letting King walk means we can re-sign Jair, I'd be okay with it. Just don't want a repeat of 2016. It's still Euchre season. It is still Euchre season. Bob Euchre was calling a playoff game last night, and it was beautiful, despite the fact that the Brewers couldn't put it together. I mean, I don't think it's as linear as that, but yeah, Jair is obviously going to be a priority. There's no way they let that kid walk. No chance. GBP Daily, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Another Thursday of pausing transplants to catch Packers Daily. One of these days, I'll get to watching transplants live. It's also your birthday. Well, happy birthday. Go Pack, go, man. Thanks for joining us. Q King, thanks for the super chat. Didn't we sign a defensive lineman from the Ravens? What's the word with him? I think you're probably thinking of Mack, who was with the Ravens and then the Giants and the Lions and then with the Packers for about 5 days, and then they cut him. They put him on the practice squad, and then they let him go. They have been cycling through a lot of guys. They also brought in Wynn, who had some snaps on Sunday night and looked okay. Former Broncos draft pick. Actually, no, he was a Browns draft pick who played for the Broncos and hadn't played in a while before Sunday night. Thoughts on our tight end group's play so far? I feel excited about their potential. Dan, you should. Here's the thing. They're still so young. It's so weird because you've got Big Dog, who's obviously at the end of his career, but still very effective at what he does and is asked to do. And then you've got Jace and Robert, who are, really starting to come into their own, but, haven't done a ton in the league, somewhat due to injury, somewhat due to youth. And then we've only seen Josiah for one game. If they can just get him healthy and back in there, I think they've got a lot of potential there. And you see with Tanyan, he's really starting to put it together, and he's a number of years in. I think maybe people expected a little bit more out of Jace early on. I think that's a misguided notion, so to speak. The tight end position is one of the toughest to make the transition from college to the pros. Obviously, Jace missed a ton of time last year with the injury, missed the start of camp this year due to COVID. And now you're starting to see him get involved. Obviously, it helps that he's catching the passes thrown to him. But I think there's a lot to like there. And the more the year goes on and the more they're able to kind of work these guys into the game plan, I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm not sure defense exists in the NFL. Is there any team with a good defense? Guy, it's funny. We were just talking about that on the radio. And you would have said, like, coming into this past weekend, you would have said the Ravens had a good defense, and then the Chiefs make them look silly. To me, it's not about, like, the frustration with the Packers defense isn't that, okay, a guy gets open, right? Getting beat by scheme is going to happen, right? It's the missing tackles and bad angles. That's the stuff that frustrates you, right? It's because those are the things that are correctable on your end. But yeah, to your point, I mean, offense scoring is up, points are up, games are shorter because teams are going ham. And I do love that the NFL isn't calling as many offensive holding penalties. Thank you, Lord. The defense is so far a bit behind offenses across the league. Although it'll be interesting now as we get into, say, the second month of the season, if maybe that course corrects a little bit. I know I've heard it posited by a couple different people that these first 4 games are essentially the preseason for the entire league. Now, I don't know how much I buy into that, but the idea that teams are kind of rounding into playing shape, I think that has a little merit at least. Timeline on DeGuara's return. Trevor, I haven't heard. All I know is he's missed practice, and I know last week he tried to go early, the first practice, and then had to sit back out. So I don't know if he aggravated something or just tried and couldn't go the rest of the week. But I mean, if I had to guess, I would probably guess that they'll hold him out this game as well, and then with the bye week, and then try to bring him back after that. David, thoughts on Preston Smith's first 3 games? A little quiet in the pass rush, but run defense seems okay. Very much agreed. I put this out on Twitter a couple nights ago. I think he's been solid against the run, stout even. I think there's been a lot of consternation about him being asked to drop back into coverage. I think he's been fine there. Sure, there are times when he gets kind of a mismatch on a running back, and that's probably not to his advantage or favor. I think he's been fine there. Where the drop-off has come in his game is rushing the passer, straight up one-on-ones. He's not winning. And I don't know what that's about. Sometimes it's about the quarterback getting the ball off, but sometimes he's just getting stoned. And obviously that needs to change. He needs to start winning some one-on-ones. But to me, the rest of it, the game seems fine and very similar to what we saw last year. Olive wants to call. I can't call right now, baby. I'm live. Steelers have a decent defense. Yes, they do. They have a good front. That helps. Unicorn, thanks for the super chat. Why do you think Barnes seemingly got jumped over by Summers after Kirksey went down? I would love to see Robert Foster get a shot if Adams doesn't go. Foster, I think it would be a long shot to go. But you never know. Who knows? We'll see who they end up bringing up. The practice squad is a fun place this year, as Corey said last night on Transplants. Why do I think Barnes got jumped over? I don't think it's a question of getting jumped over. It is a bit positional because that inside linebacker 1 role, so to speak, is a little different than what Barnes is asked to do. I think Summers has been training there since last year, so he has a little bit, a number of more reps at that position. And there's the communication aspect of it. I think Summers at least has practiced having the radio helmet, whereas I don't think Barnes has. So, and, again, mostly it comes down to, I think, continuity of Summers at least knowing the defense and the calls, et cetera, because he's been there a year. Whereas Barnes is an undrafted free agent who's playing, his first snaps here, these first 3 games. That's just guesswork on my part, obviously. Arthur, thanks for the super chat. Is this our best offense since 2011? Yes. Not even a question. She wants a dog. Yeah, I know she wants a dog. Call it big dog, even if it's tiny. I like it. Do you think Kiki will get more time? Jake, I do. Sadly, I think it'll be because I would suspect they continue to hold Kenny Clark out. But, I mean, this is the standard now, as Matt LaFleur is fond of saying. It's not necessarily that he's got to continue to put up 2 sacks a game, although that would be nice. But he's got to bring it, and he's got to make sure that he's consistent down in and down out, not ending up on the ground, playing the run as well as the pass. And then when the situation dictates and or presents itself, he's getting after the quarterback. But yes, I do think you will see, I don't know about in favor of any particular person, whether that's Lancaster or Lowry or what have you, but I do think he will be in the rotation a little bit more. Patrick, thanks for the super chat. Do you think Titans going to play the Steelers? The NFL actually just announced right before I went live that game has been postponed. There was talk about they were going to try and play it on Monday prior to the Packers-Falcons game. But now, as of this morning, there was another positive test in Tennessee with the Titans. So they have postponed that game till later in the season. There's no word yet on what that date might be, but they will be postponing and rescheduling that game, which, man, you got to hope this is the only one because you know how difficult it is logistically to move these games. If they have to start moving a bunch of them, help us. K. Martin returns soon. I doubt it, Ray. When the injury first happened, that was right before the season started. The report indicated, I think it was by Rob, that it was roughly an 8-week timeline. So I would think it's going to be a number of weeks yet before we even see Martin out come off of injured reserve and start to take the field, which is a shame because he was having an outstanding camp. If only the Packers had receiving weapons on offense other than Devontae Adams, they just might be competitive. Stu, I sense the sarcasm is strong with you. Thank you, Aaron. Have a good day. Thanks, Jake. Thanks for stopping by. That messed up my fantasy lineup. Terrence, I mean, we can all make fun of fantasy or whatever, but that's a multi-million-dollar business, and there's no doubt that Steelers-Titans being kind of struck from the Week 4 slate, is going to have fantasy ramifications. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into these games, and there's a lot that comes out of it, including fantasy football. Obviously, you just want everyone to be safe. You want everyone to be healthy. These continuing positive tests in Tennessee are obviously concerning, and I think the NFL is doing the right thing in just striking the game and keeping the place closed down, hopefully getting it contained, do their contact tracing, and hopefully able to move past this. But the fantasy thing is a real bummer, no doubt about it. Alex, that is succinct. Jair is balling the F out. Very true. Very true. Tremont or Eric Reed services needed? Definitely not Eric Reed. Tremont, I love Tremont. Everybody knows I love Tremont. But I don't see the Packers going that route. Maybe if they suffer a ton of injuries, but they're not going to just call him because some guys missed some tackles on a nationally televised game. The guys they have just need to start playing better. What did you make of the safety play watching the game back? Nathan, I thought Amos had a good game, and I thought Savage played better than I thought watching it live. There's still stuff that you'd like to see some better angles from Savage. For whatever reason, that seems to be a bugaboo for him. But for the most part, it was better than I would have thought. And there were a number of times when Breeze obviously was looking deep, trying to take a shot, and wasn't able to because of the play of the safeties. So, I thought they played pretty darn well. And I thought Amos did a really good job up near the line of scrimmage. Again, certainly plays you'd like them to play better on. Maybe, a little more help in the stopping the run department. But overall, I thought they had good games. Roger Goodell is probably facing Juju in fantasy. That's phenomenal. Patrick, thanks for the super chat. Can you try the beer during the pregame show? I will, buddy. Absolutely. Not a problem. Thank you. Is Josh Jackson going to be anything? I don't really understand that question. Right now, he is solid depth. And for him to get on the field, somebody on the perimeter has to come off. Who are you taking off? Kevin King or Jair Alexander? You pick. I know people get frustrated because he was a draft pick and he's not on the field. But, it's not like they're just wasting him away. It's not like he doesn't have talent. When they go to dime, he's out there. You saw against the Lions, Stafford tested him deep up the left sideline, and he had a great pass breakup. What more do you want? When his number is called, he's been good this year. I'm not going to say great, but, it's just been few and far between. Hopefully we don't ever have to find out too much about him this year, because that means King and Jair are healthy and balling out. Any Vikings positives today? I hope the season can be finished, take away other sports, but not the NFL. Jason, I haven't seen any reports about any more Vikings positives. It was this morning was only I don't know if it was a player or a personnel member of the Titans, but it was Tennessee specific. It was not Minnesota. So hopefully the Vikings are out of, quote unquote, out of the woods. How has Lancaster been playing? Okay. The thing with Lancaster is he was such a great story his rookie year because he was an undrafted guy who gave you way more than I think you thought you were going to get. And the hope was that he would continue to develop, but he hasn't played past that point. He is a surprisingly competent undrafted free agent. The problem is we're 3 years on now and he's still playing like that. Haven't seen a ton of development. Now, that's not to say that he's not valuable or doesn't have value, because I think he does. I think on most NFL teams, he probably doesn't see the field as much as he is in Green Bay, but they like him. He's steady, and he's a guy that can plug in there, and they know he's going to be assignment sure and do his job, but he's not dynamic in any way. He's not creating disruption. So it's frustrating because I don't want to besmirch the guy because I think he's playing to his ability. The problem is he doesn't have a very high ceiling. And They put him in there and he does his job, but more often than not, it's pretty negligible. If you want to be a better defense, you need more dynamic play out of that position. Josh, thanks for the super chat. Is there another happy hour scheduled soon? Really enjoyed the first one. Josh, we had one Tuesday night. We'll have another one probably next Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, depending on Monday Night Football and how messed up everything gets in my schedule. More Wagner, less Turner. I doubt it. After the way Turner played on Sunday night, he held up pretty well. So I would think they'll probably stick with Turner at right tackle. Now, who knows? I mean, they've had so many different combinations at this point. Anything's possible. But, Turner was running there during camp, and then he got hurt. But now he's healthy. And like I said, he held up pretty damn well there Sunday night against the Saints. So we'll see. They'll be back on the practice field today. Although the local beat probably won't get a look at how they line up. But maybe sometimes they do kind of some walkthrough stuff that gets you a glance. But we'll see. We'll see. I feel a 3-and-out is as good as a turnover. Thoughts? I don't know about as good as a turnover, especially when you factor in the field position. Obviously, it depends on where you are on the field, but it certainly is a boon for the defense. And the defense has, at times, risen to the occasion and produced a 3-and-out at really good times. The one that obviously comes to mind is after the failed 4th and 1, Packers offense, and then you turn around and the defense gets them a 3-and-out. That's monster. So it's not quite as, I think, valuable as a turnover, but it's close. Tommy, buddy, we got to stop. Got to start living in the now, buddy. Clay for the middle, and any word on Snacks. Snacks is old, has arthritic knees, and doesn't want to play in the cold. The Packers made him a very generous offer this past summer. He's not coming to Green Bay. Clay Matthews, it is 2020. It is not 2011. Get Clay Matthews out your mind. Yankees, baby. All right, I'm done. Fucking Yankees fans. Always coming in here and ruining everything. I'm kidding. I hate the Yankees, though, man. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, talking Packers with me. Please hit like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. And, hey, if you're so inclined, please consider giving us $5 a month on the Patreon page, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. Helps support everything we do, including live episodes of Packer Transplants. The latest one was last night. Check it out on Facebook and YouTube. It also supports our 5+ hours of live streaming each and every game day, pregame, watch party, postgame, tons of fun stuff with Corey and myself. But hey, if you can't support on Patreon, totally understand. Just hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Have a great day, everybody.